Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, Chapter 16 of Illidan by William King. Will Maiev be able to stop Illidan once and for all at the Hand of Gul'dan? Probably not, because there's still 15 chapters left. But let's get... The ground in Shadowmoon Valley trembled as the Hand of Gul'dan tried to make up its mind whether it wanted to erupt or not. Green lava flowed slowly but surely down the slopes of the mountain, and all around, magical power surged. The karma had been correct. A ritual of immense power was being enacted here, and Maiev couldn't help but think that the magnitude of this spell was probably causing the pre-shocks from the volcano, and would likely result in a full-blown eruption at the end. She and her people had kept to the shadows, moving from rock to rock, silent as assassins, or the night elves had anyway. The Draenei and Broken didn't exactly move with the same stealth, with their clippity-clop hooves and shit. The karma looked very uneasy, which wasn't surprising. Based on what had happened to his world in the past, the shaking of a mountain must have been ever so slightly disturbing for him. But he'd brought scores of Ash-Tongue soldiers with him, so that was cool. Akama had also been correct about the number of sorcerers that would be here. 13 groups of 13 stood in circles weaving their great spell. Some were blood elves, some were Naga, but all of them seemed pretty capable. They were spread over the mountain, each of them representing a point in a great pattern, and at the centre of the pattern, where all their energies converged, was an altar. And as Maiev looked towards the altar, she smiled. There he was, the betrayer himself, looking all smug, and he was weaving the energies being directed towards him into a swirling vortex of potency. Maiev paused to consider the magnitude of the gateway they were opening. There was a lot of energy centered on one spot, so it was going to be pretty big. Either Illidan was hoping to bring a being of truly awesome power here, or he was trying to bridge a gap between a unimaginable distance. But whatevs. Maiev wasn't going to give him the chance to finish this spell. It was time to move. So, she glanced once more at Akama, who nodded back to her, and then raised a hand to signal the attack. Sarius leapt from the shadows in his cat form and ripped a blood elf magician's throat out, and the rest of the sorcerers in that group didn't even react. They were so wrapped up in their spell. The Draenei and Broken then charged down slope, brandishing their weapons and invoking powerful offensive and defensive spells, and they quickly took out a whole bunch of sorcerers as well. And yet, the Magi just kept on casting. Maiev then used Blink and teleported over to a group of Naga, quickly sliced her way through all of them. Things were going pretty well. Now, it was entirely possible that if they killed enough sorcerers, the spell could run out of control, and the backlash of that unleashed magic could be catastrophic. But Maiev didn't give a shit. She didn't care if she died too, as long as the spell destroyed Illidan. But she'd much rather kill him with her own blades, just to be certain, so she sprinted towards the altar. But as she got nearer, the betrayer's head swiveled to look directly at her. He then flashed a cheeky smile, raised his warglaives, and invoked a spell that had nothing to do with the ritual taking place all around them. And in an instant, a whole bunch of portals started opening around Maiev and the rest of her troops, and through them poured hundreds upon hundreds of Naga and Felorks. Oh dear. Maiev knew their only hope now was to throw these reinforcements back through the gateways. The portal mouths weren't huge, so her peeps could bottleneck them for a time. Sooner or later, Illidan's forces would prevail, but that wasn't the point. She just needed more time to reach the betrayer and put an end to him. So she barked her orders. Unfortunately though, Illidan must have known she'd try that, because he just opened more portals. Maiev and her forces were now well and truly outnumbered and outflanked. Out of sheer desperation, Maiev raced towards her foe, but Illidan just spread his wings and leapt into the sky. And as Maiev sensed even more magic being woven behind her, she turned around and saw Lady Vash, unleashing a powerful spell which caused most of Maiev's troops to just fall to the ground and stop moving. And it was at this point that Maiev realised it was entirely possible she was going to lose. A whole bunch of Felorks charged at her, and although she managed to take out a few of them, a bolt of pure cold then shivered through her body. Lady Vash had made contact with a spell, and Maiev could no longer move. Another group of Felorks rushed towards her, rabid and dribbling and raising their axes. But an arrow then whizzed through the air, burying itself in a Felork's throat. And Indra, you beautiful bastard. Sarius then leapt in from the side, shifted to his bare form and drew the hate off Maiev from her attackers. We have to get out of here. Maybe Anindra was right. There weren't many of Maiev's troops left. A handful of Draenei and Broken, Anindra and Sarius. And that was about it. Maybe they did need to run and fight another day. But what if this was their only chance? A monstrous shadow then passed overhead, and looking up, Maiev saw Illidan laughing. And that's when things got real horrific. Long tentacles of darkness reached down and touched the wounded and dying all around the battlefield, and when they did so, the victims screamed in agony and aged years in a heartbeat. Their very souls were being devoured. It wasn't just the wounded and dying either. The tentacles were touching corpses as well. With every soul absorbed, black spheres swirling above the battlefield grew larger and darker, and a shimmering hole appeared in the air above the altar, feeding on the souls of the fallen. Maiev then caught a glimpse of Akama. Had he known about this trap? This slaughter was not part of the plan. You said we were supposed to capture Maiev. Well, that answers that question. All of this had been a scheme concocted by Illidan and that treacherous broken twat. Maiev was furious. We will capture Maiev, Akama, but there are other things that need to be done this day. Akama screamed and raised his fist. Chained lightning circled his fingers. For a second, it looked like he was going to hurl it at Illidan, but he didn't. He just teleported away instead. Head for that rise. We'll make our stand there. Anindra nodded, but then her eyes went wide with shock, because an orcish blade had just pierced her back and come out the other end through her chest. Blood poured from her mouth as a muscular red arm reached around her neck and snapped it, and then she was dead. Sarius's roar of grief vibrated through the air and he hurled himself forward, and although he managed to take down Anindra's killer, more fell orcs appeared and hacked him to pieces, and then he was dead. Maiev then became enraged and sprang to her feet. Thanks to pure adrenaline, she started to chop her way through fell orc after fell orc. Maiev was bleeding from 1,000 cuts and knew she was going to die, but she was going to take as many of Illidan's henchmen with her as she could. But as the black lightning above flickered and tentacles came down and touched the fell orc corpses lay at Maev's feet, she realised that all she'd done was aid Illidan in the casting of his spell. More corpses and souls to be absorbed in order to crack a hole in the fabric of reality. Illidan hovered over the carnage, looking down in triumph, and as Maev's gaze met his, dark energy descended from his fist like the spear of an angry god. It struck Maiev, and she fell back down to the ground again, and all she could do was lie there as the beat of mighty wings grew louder and louder. Now you are my prisoner. And as Maiev tried to use the last remnant of her strength to pick herself up, Illidan just straight up knocked her out. And we're leaving it there! But Jesus! Well, that probably throws a bit of a spanner in the works for those that ship Maiev and Illidan, doesn't it? That was like the Red Wedding or something. Anywho, we've got Akama, Vandel, and then Illidan's POV in the next chapter, so there you go. As usual, link in the description if you're interested in buying this book. Also, there's links to my Discord server and my Patreon page too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!